So when it comes on to independent contractor jobs or 1099 independent contractor jobs, the first thing you want to ask your provider is, whether or not you'll be responsible for supplies. In house call service, we do use a lot of gloves, masks, you can also use shoe cover, scale, batteries. Find out if those are going to be your responsibility or their responsibility. So you want to find out, definitely if they'll be providing you with certain things. Another thing you want to find out is who's going to be the point of contact when you're in these house call setting, because in the event that something does pop up, you want to know who is the best person to go ahead and call. Sometimes it might be a case where you have a medical assistant where you can always reach out to them because they're in the office and they will help you with getting certain things done. So for example, you have like a referral that you need to get done, you want to put in a DME order, you can always reach out to your medical assistant or whoever you're reporting to in the office, because remember, you don't really see anybody that much, so you definitely need somebody in the office to be your point of contact. The thing you want to definitely ask about is when and how you're going to get paid. A lot of times, providers in house call setting will be paid like per patient, per visit. Ask about that, or whether or not it's going to be per diem, basically the same thing. So you want to definitely ask that. Is it going to be like every week, every other week, or monthly? You need to find out that. You usually get a 1099 NEC form, and that is a tax form that you'll use at the end of the year when you're filing your taxes. Then you definitely want to find out about reimbursement. Is the company going to give you a travel reimbursement? To find out about that. So the other thing you want to do is make sure you have the contractual agreement. Make sure it have the flexibility. You talk about the rates. You also talk about the scope as well as termination clause. Definitely make sure that termination clause is in it, because sometimes you might find out that there's some companies who want you to give them 3 months for time to go ahead with getting other persons in the position with credentialing and all. Some persons might say it's a 1 week. Some companies might say none, because you're an independent contractor, you're not full-time. So definitely find out what the termination clause are, and then from there. And then always try to go ahead and review the contract before signing it, because you want to make sure that whatever you're discussing in person is what you're signing to. All right? You don't want to have any surprise when it's time for you to leave. So another thing you want to definitely find out is whether or not they will be providing malpractice or liability insurance for you. I always encourage persons to go ahead and get their own malpractice insurance, whether or not you're RN or NP. Go ahead and get that, even if the company does have it. And you also want to find out what the limits are going to be for the coverage. Definitely find out from them, and then you go ahead and purchase your own malpractice insurance. The other thing you want to find out is where you'll be seeing patients. Remember, you have different certifications which allows you to see patients in different settings. So ensure that your certification is allowing you to see those kind of patients. I've heard about persons in house call setting that definitely their providers are asking them to see pediatrics when they are only geriatric nurse practitioner. So make sure you're protecting yourself and know your limits on what patients you can see and what you cannot see. To find out is the flexibility. Find out about the flexibility. Sometimes you might have the flexibility, and some companies will be able to guarantee you the hours or the patients. So definitely find out about that, and if that is something that you're interested in, go ahead and read your contract and sign it. You want to find out about training or retraining programs, because a lot of companies out there will want you to do foot care, wound care. Definitely take up those opportunities, even if you have to spend the money out of pocket. Take up the opportunity and get the educational training that you need, and then from there you can always ask the company if they're going to reimburse you for that. If not, it's going to be a win for you either way, because you'll be certified as a wound care nurse as well as a foot care specialist. Who knows, depending on the company. So the final thing I would say is, when you're working as an independent contractor and depending on the amount of patients that you're seeing, the other thing you want to find out from this company is whether or not there is an option for you to convert from a 1099 to a W2. All right, so find out from that, so that way at least you can have an idea of where you're going to be going, because sometimes persons don't really want to be working as an independent contractor forever because the benefits are not there. So if they're able to get you onto a W2 where you're able to get benefits and bonuses, that's always a plus. So I always say, just ask the company if there is plans for that, then give them a time period and work with it until you're able to do so. If there's nothing in sight, then the option is going to be up to you. All right, but I do hope that these tips were very beneficial for you. Go ahead and give the video a thumbs up, a like, a share, comment, and remember, subscribe to my YouTube page where I do share long form content as well, and just be a part of the family. And welcome. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.